Welcome back to Perkins Pipes. Got a fun historical video for you today, something that connects with my family and indeed American history. For this one, brought out the Missouri Meerschaum Country Gentleman that I purchased this summer, so shortly before the recording of this video, actually. Nice big barrel-shaped bowl here. Seemed appropriate for this video. So as always, let's get this guy lit. Let's get to talking. Several years ago, my family and some dear friends of ours were vacationing in the West. We had gone to trying to remember which trip this was on. We did a couple trips out west with them. But at any rate, we were in Wyoming, and we stopped off at the Buffalo Bill Center for the West in Cody, Wyoming, which is an amazing museum. Highly recommend it. If I recall, the tickets were good for 2 days. We were only able to stay one. You really need both days. It's 5 museums in one building. And so there's Western literature, a whole museum dedicated to that, and Native American stuff. And there is an amazing firearms museum. In fact, it may be the largest firearms museum in the United States. And there's an upper level and just historically arranged, and then stuff from movies and television, stuff like this. And then you go downstairs, and then there is just racks upon racks upon racks of firearms arranged by manufacturer. And there are drawers that you pull out, and there are firearms. And then there's these big sliding glass display cases that you pull out of the wall, and just rank upon rank of firearms. Very, very cool. While we were there looking at this stuff, I saw a Pepperbox pistol. You say, what's that? Well, I'm going to show you here in just a moment. And saw a Pepperbox, and I immediately had to take a picture of it in the display case because it reminded me of a pistol that I knew had been in our family. Not long after that, I got a text or a message or something from a cousin of mine. Said, hey, I've got this pistol that used to belong to, and I'll get into all the details here. He says, would you be interested in that? And I said, absolutely. I love guns and would be honored to have it in the family. And so he sent it to me. So that's what I want to introduce you to today, is this Pepperbox pistol. Okay? Now we're going to do a lot of looking around at this guy. I'll give you a good look at it. Obviously the wooden grips are long gone. You can tell from its age that this guy's seen a lot of life. Now, along this hammer or this bar at the top, and I seriously doubt that the camera's going to pick this up, but there is some engraving up here, and that's the only markings that really would help you to identify anything. So I'm come over here to the document that I had put together. So I'd done a little bit of research so I could send my cousin information about this. So we'll kind of hold this up here, but let me read to you what I found out. This seems to be a W.W. Marston and Company 6-shot 32 caliber percussion Pepperbox, made circa the mid-1850s in New York City. Marston marked their Pepperboxes often without the Marston name, and instead used the names Washington Arms, Union Arms, and Phoenix Armory. Well, this one is marked Washington Arms, and so that's what led me to this. It says, finding these Marston pepperboxes is pretty hard to do, as many were used hard on their way to the gold fields of California. Blah, blah, blah. So, that's about all I've got on it. And mid-1850s seems to be when this was manufactured. Now, my mom had a couple of maiden aunts, Aunt Bess and Aunt Goldie. Lived together in a farmhouse in southern Indiana. And I called them Aunt Bess and Aunt Goldie, even though they would have been my great aunts. And we would go to visit them periodically. And I remember seeing this Pepperbox pistol at their farmhouse. Now, the story was that somehow there was a connection with this and Morgan's Raiders. Now, you can go do some little research for yourself there, but Morgan's Raiders came up through Kentucky, southern Indiana, that area in 1863. It's unclear if they were actually in that area. This was Scott County, Indiana. They may have moved through that area. And I don't know whether this was something that was used by one of the Raiders and somehow ended up in the family. If this is something the family had used, maybe to defend themselves, I have no idea. What you can see is there would have been wooden grips. Those are long gone. I will tell you this is completely not functional. The trigger will not even pull. So those of you gun safety, you don't just walk around with your finger on the trigger. Well, this one's not going to shoot at all. I thought about having it restored, and then I've thought about not, which obviously I haven't done, just leaving it in this condition. So maybe there's a connection with Morgan's Raid, maybe not, I don't know, but something that dates to the middle and latter part of the 19th century, connected with my family and perhaps American history, certainly American history in terms of American firearms production. So let's take a little look at this. And the thing is, with talking, you got to keep this guy lit. So let me relight this fellow here. So you think about revolvers. Should have brought one out. You have the cylinder that holds the various rounds, and then one barrel, all right? Cylinder rotates, feeds the bullet through the one barrel. Well, the Pepperbox is basically, it's stopped with the barrel, or stopped with the cylinder, right? And if you think about it, almost kind of looks like a pepper grinder. You grind grind out some pepper on your steak or whatever. You put pepper on. I love pepper, by the way. I love black pepper on stuff. But anyhow, side note. And then obviously it just would rotate, with each shot there. Small. You can see how it fits in the hand. Just good basic pistol here. Got some heft to it. Decent heft. I always thought it'd be hilarious to take this to the range sometime and just see what people would say. What in the world is that? So anyhow, just a little trip down history and memory lane there. So I'm curious. Do you know anything? Have you ever heard of a Pepperbox before? Did that ring a bell to you? Are you into historic firearms? Now, I have to say, I've done an episode in the past about my firearms. I don't own a lot, and certainly the only historic one is this one. Do you enjoy historic firearms? Do you own any? Do you do any kind of reenactment with historic firearms? Do you do any restoration of historic vintage firearms. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I don't know. What do you think of this guy? What do you think of this guy? What do you think of the look of him? What do you think it would have been like to have used this guy back in the 1800s? Would love to hear your thoughts. Folks, as Malcolm Guite likes to say, I do these little things in order at last to do nothing. Yeah. Or as I like to say in Latin, Parva ago ut tandem, nihil agam. Have a wonderful day.